All right, let's turn to Mark chapter 11. Mark 11. And what's today's date? I forgot. Today's the 5th. Okay, October 5th, 2014. All right. But Mark chapter 11. Here we have Jesus cursing the fig tree. Mark 11, verse 12, down to verse number 14, and then we'll drop down to verse 21, down to verse 25. All right. So it says here in Mark 11, verse 12, and on the next day, when they had departed from Bethany, he became hungry. And seeing at a distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to see if perhaps he would find anything on it. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he answered and said to it, May no one ever eat fruit from you again. And his disciples were listening. Now verse 21, or verse 20. And as they were passing by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots up. And being reminded, Peter said to him, Rabbi, behold, the fig tree which you cursed has withered. And Jesus answered, saying to them, Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, Be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it shall be granted him. Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted you. And whenever you stand praying, forgive, if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also, who is in heaven, may forgive you your transgressions. Now, denominations teach that whatever you say, whatever you claim it, name it, and you will have it. Okay? Because the teaching is that we have been made in God's image. And just like when God said, let there be light, there was light, let there be this, and it came about, they're teaching that since we're made in God's image, whatever we speak, the same thing is going to happen. Okay? But that is not correct. Okay? God is the creator, and whatever he says, that's what's going to happen. All right? Now, we don't have that power. Okay? Yes, we're made in his image. Okay? God made man in his image, which means what? We have his nature. Okay? But we don't have the power to walk around and say things that, because I said it, it's going to take place. Okay? We don't have that power. All right? But now, Jesus says here in verse 24, Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted you. Okay? Verse 23. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, Be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it shall be granted him. Okay? Now, going backwards, verse 22. Have faith in God. Okay? Have faith in God. So Jesus here, he curses the fig tree. Okay? And it takes place. All right? So now, how did Jesus know to curse the fig tree and it was going to happen. Okay? Now, a couple things here. Okay? Jesus is walking towards Jerusalem. Okay? And Jerusalem is the place where Jesus is going to be crucified. All right? So now, let's go to Mark chapter 10. And my topic is the prayer of faith. The prayer of faith. Mark 10, starting at verse 33. And Christ here is talking to his men about what's going to happen to him. And it says this, Mark 10, verse 33. Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and the scribes, and they will condemn him to death and will deliver him to the Gentiles. And they will mock him and spit upon him and scourge him and kill him. And 3 days later, he will rise again. Okay? Now notice here, what is Christ saying about himself? That they're going to scourge me. They're going to crucify me. They're going to spit on me. They're going to kill me. Okay? So now, in Mark chapter 11, where Christ curses the fig tree, it is not for selfish reasons. Okay? He went to the fig tree because he was hungry, but he did not curse the fig tree because it was all about him. Okay? Because now he's walking to the place where they are going to spit on him, where now they are going to kill him. So it is not about Jesus. So when Christ curses the fig tree, once again, it is not about his personal feelings. Okay? Alright? So God heard his request. Okay? And so the fig tree withers. Alright? So with us, in James chapter 4, the Bible says, you pray, but you don't receive. Why? Because you ask from wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. Okay? What is James saying? God doesn't answer your request because your prayer requests are selfish. Okay? Alright? So now, in Mark 11, verse 24, it says, Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted you. Okay? So, if we are praying from a selfish motive, God will not grant us our request. Okay? But if our request is from a position of us carrying our cross, where it is not about us, where we are not being selfish with our prayer requests, then God will answer our requests. But we must pray from a position like Jesus did. From a position from a position of, I'm on the cross. It is not about me. Okay? I want to be full time. Okay? But it can't be about my selfish, if I have a selfish intent, where now it's all about me. Okay? Because I want to have comfort. I want to have some prestige. Okay? I want to have some financial blessing so that now I look good in the eyes of the people. God will not answer that request. Okay? So it can't be about us. But God, we want this because, yes, we do have needs. Okay? And you made us to have needs. Okay? So if you're praying about your needs, okay, because God gave you needs, that's appropriate. That's not selfish. Okay? Even praying about your wants doesn't mean that it's necessarily selfish. Okay? All right? God created us to want things, to have things. That's why He created new cars. That's why He created new houses and new things, so that we can enjoy them. Okay? So nothing wrong with praying about these things, but just don't be into yourself where now the universe revolves around us. And God revolves around us. That's the wrong mindset. And now where we won't even share our blessings with other people. It's all about me. And now we're just going to hoard stuff. Okay? God says, no. I've given the blessings for you to enjoy, and also for you to share your blessings with other people. If they need to use it, let them, pass it on. So it's meant to be shared. It's not meant to be hoarded. Okay? All right? So Jesus is praying from a position of crucifixion. Okay? Where now it's not about Him. All right? So every time Jesus makes a request, guess what? God hears it. Okay? Number 2. Jesus goes to the fig tree. Let's go to Mark 11, verse 13. It says this. And seeing at a distance a fig tree in leaf, He went to see if perhaps He would find anything on it. And when He came to it, He found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. Okay? So now, the way this tree looked from a distance, it looked like it had figs on it. That's the way it looked. But when Jesus got closer and came closer to the fig tree, He said, oh, there's no figs on this tree. But the way it looked from a distance, it looked like it had figs on it. Okay? So when Christ comes close to the fig tree, He realizes, oh, there are no figs on this tree. So you know what? Tree, you are cursed. You are cursed. Okay? Now, what does this tree represent? This tree represents hypocrisy. Because it looked one way, but in reality, it was something totally different. Okay? So this tree represents hypocrisy. All right? And so now, let's go to Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Matthew 24. And Jesus here is talking about His coming back to get His servants when it's all said and done. Matthew 24, starting at verse 46. It says this. Blessed is that slave whom his master finds so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, that he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But if that evil slave says in his heart, my master is not coming for a long time, and shall begin to beat his fellow slaves and eat and drink with drunkards, the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour which he does not know, and shall cut him in pieces, and assign him a place with the hypocrites. Weeping shall be there, and the gnashing of teeth. So now, God curses hypocrisy. Okay? So, when Jesus realizes this tree is looking one way, but in reality, there is something else going on. Jesus curses the fig tree. Okay? Because now, Jesus knows that His Father hates hypocrisy. Okay? He knows that his Father's nature is not hypocrisy. So this tree is going against the nature of God. Okay? This tree is sinning against God. So Jesus curses the fig tree, which is in line with the mindset and nature of God. Okay? Because now it says here, Matthew 24, verse 51, that for the Christian who is not living right, for the Christian who proclaims, I'm a Christian, but then acts another way, that is hypocrisy. That Christian will be cursed with the rest of the unbelievers in hell forever. Okay? So Jesus knows that my prayer request is in line with the mindset and the nature of my Father. And that my Father is going to curse all those who are hypocrites. And so this tree is in hypocrisy. So this request is in line with who my Father is. Okay? So that's how we can know our prayer requests and how they will be answered. Okay? Is my prayer request coming from a position of crucifixion, where it's not all about me and I just want to hoard all that I get and keep it all for myself? Okay? Alright? But if we're praying from a position of crucifixion, alright, God's going to hear us. Alright? And number two, if we're praying from a position of God's nature, who is God and His nature? How does He think? Okay? And if we know those two areas, and we have Him right in those two areas, God will hear all of our prayer requests. Okay? And this is why Christ said in Matthew 11. Back to Matthew chapter 11. Verse 22. Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it shall be granted him. Okay? Alright? So now, we walk around and we're praying from a position of crucifixion, where it's not about us. And see, if it's not about us, then who is it about? It's about God's will. Okay? Alright? And if we know His nature, and we're praying according to His nature, then we sure enough know that God is going to answer our prayers. Okay? So then we can say, I prayed about this, and guess what? God's going to give me what I've been asking for. Okay? So now we can proclaim, God's going to answer my requests. Okay? So when Christ said, whatever you said is going to happen, it's because we're praying from a position of crucifixion and according to God's nature. Okay? So now we can say with confidence, yeah, He's going to answer. Now, He's going to answer within His time, but we know that He is going to answer. So now we can name and claim that. Okay? Alright? But we have to make sure that in these two areas that we are on the cross. Okay? Crucifixion. Okay? And like in Mark 10, Christ said, they're going to spit on me, they're going to kill me, they're going to do all these things to me. Okay? But in 3 days, I'm going to rise again. But once again, Jesus set the standard. Pray from this position. Pray from a position of servant mindset. I'm a servant of God, and I only want to do what He has commanded me to do. I don't want it to be about me. Okay, so now we have that mindset, and now we're praying to God. Do you think God's going to say, I'm not going to answer your request? Do you think He's going to say that? No. But if we're about ourselves and always thinking about what's our comfort level, what's our comfort? I'm not going to do that. No. God, no. God, you command me to do that, but that's out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to do that, God. And then we go to God. Oh, God, give me, I'm praying about, what do you think He's going to say? No. Because you're praying from a position where now you got down off the cross and now it's about you. Because now, if I answer your request from that position, now you are God. And now you're going to tell me what you're going to do? And then you expect me to answer your request? No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? I tell you what to do. And then you do it. You take up your cross and you follow me. And now when you pray, I sure enough going to hear your prayer request. Okay? But and when I answer, it's going to be within my time frame, not yours, but just trust me. All right? You're faithful to me, I will be faithful to you. I will never leave you or forsake you. So just trust me. Just trust me. And then Christ says, verse 22, have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt it in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it shall be granted him. Okay? Now notice here, on this last point, that Jesus says, he gives the analogy about a mountain. He says, have faith in God. If you have faith in God, and it is God's will that this mountain be thrown into the sea, and you ask God, okay, God's going to do it. Okay? Now notice here, Christ did not say, pray about this mountain, and then you get a bulldozer, and you start trying to move it. Okay? God doesn't need help. Okay? All right? And so here's the mindset of man, the natural man's thinking. Okay, the natural man, Christian man thinking. I prayed about it, but don't I have to do something? No. Yes, you do have to do something, and you doing it is asking God, God, will you remove this mountain? Okay? Your part is to ask and don't doubt. That's it. Okay? It is not, okay, I prayed about it, and now I'm going to do something about it. God is saying, sit still. Okay? Don't do anything. You did your part. Just sit here and watch me move the mountain into the sea. Number one, you can't pick up the mountain. Okay? You can't do it. And that's where Christians get tired. Trying to move their mountains. Oh, okay, I'm praying and then I'm doing, you're trying to move the mountain and God's just going to sit there and let you realize, you know what, I can't move this mountain. I never told you to. I told you to ask me to move the mountain. Okay? I created the mountain, so I sure enough am the same one who created the mountain. I'm the same one who can pick up the mountain and put it into the sea. You can't do it. Okay? So just sit still. Okay? And so here come all the should voices. Well, you should do something. You should. You see, that's not realistic for you to pray about it and then don't try to do something about it. Try to move. That's not real. That's foolishness. You did your part. What's realistic? We're going to go to the God who is able to move the mountain. God, this is our request. Could you move this mountain? And he's going to do it. Okay? So all the should voices are coming from a lack of faith. Okay? Mankind is not walking according to faith. So mankind is out there trying to move their mountains. Okay? And no wonder people are worn out, tired, depressed, mad, and bitter, because their mountains are not moving. They're trying to do it themselves. Okay? All right? But we who are in the kingdom, we know the truth. We can't move the mountain, but we can sure enough speak to our situations. Okay? Just like Jesus spoke to the fig tree, we are to speak to our situations in faith. Okay? All right? Need some money. Oh, you know what? God's going to, you talk to the bills. They're going to be paid. You're going to be paid because my God is going to deliver. Okay? You're talking to your situation. What did God say? Put me first and I will meet all of your needs. I will add all these things to you. So you talking to your situation is according to who God is. Okay? Speak to your situation in faith. Okay? And watch God do what He said He's going to do. All right? So our parts are to speak to our situations according to faith and just sit still and let God move the mountains. Okay? Because God has put plenty of mountains in our lives. And He's done it for a reason. So that we can know that He is God. All right? So now with that, we are weak. Okay? And it's a good weakness. We can't pick up mountains. So just sit still and let God move. And He's going to do it. But come from a position of crucifixion. I'm carrying my cross. And a position of knowing His nature. And this is why it's so important to know God's nature. We have to study His Word. Because in His Word, He's going to tell us how He thinks. And He's going to reveal His nature to us. Then we can know, you know what? This tree, this situation is not according to God's nature. And we know what to do. All right? And so, let's be Christians who are on the cross every single day. Christ said in Luke 9:23, if you're going to follow me, you got to deny yourself every single day. Take up your cross daily and follow me. Daily. So every single day, we are on the cross. Okay? And so when we go to God, we're praying to God from a position of we're on the cross. And we know your nature. Number 3, this mountain, we're not going to move it. We've done our part. We asked you. And He's going to do His part and remove it. So, let's be those type of children who trust our Father in this way. And so, how does one become a child of God? One must hear the gospel. Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. And that is how Christ is able to save the whole world. And one believes the gospel, realizing I'm a sinner outside of Christ, and then one puts on Christ in water baptism, and now one is able to, from a position of being on the cross, talk to the Father, and God will hear the prayer. So if we're here and we need prayer, as we sing the song, we'll pray after. We'll pray after the singing. All right.